Friday 5, future headlines. It's college football smothered and covered.
You are Locked On College Football, smothered and covered, with your host, Barrett Sallee. Your one-stop shop for everything college football. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, welcome in. It's a Friday edition of College Football Smothered and Covered for you everydayers. Thank you for making this your first listen. For your non-everydayers, why don't you put us in your 5 podcast rotation? Would really appreciate that. We have Friday 5. We have future headlines today, and today's show brought to you by FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com, place a $5 wager, and they'll give you $200 guaranteed in bonus wagers. That's right. One $5 bet gets you $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Go to FanDuel.com. That is FanDuel.com. So we tinkered with some things. Do you want to do future headlines first, or do you want to do picks first? And it seems like the best solution, the better solution, is to do future headlines first before we do picks. Because honestly, I kind of want to hide my picks a little bit because Friday 5 is 15-15. That means you're losing money, but you're going to win some money. We'll do that in just a second, but we're going to do future headlines. And the first one is a rocky end. The reason it's called the rocky end is because Billy Napier's Florida career is going to come to an end at the hands of the hated Tennessee Volunteers on Rocky Top on Saturday night. Well, the news will come Sunday morning. I always kind of thought that they'd wait until the bye week, which is week after next. But to me, he's been on thin ice. It's a fait accompli. We don't know exactly when it's going to happen. But a loss to Tennessee, especially in a depressing way, would pretty much do the trick. And look, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I like Billy Napier. I think he's a good coach. I think the problem at Florida is systemic, because when you go from Urban Meyer to Will Muschamp, Jim McElwain, Dan Mullen, Billy Napier, and none of them get it right, that tells me it's a top-down problem. And you can kind of see this in the way things went about at Florida. Dan didn't recruit very well because of that, even though the NIL program in the state of Florida went into existence early on. They didn't necessarily grasp how that was going to work. Now, there was no blueprint for that, but it's the reality. They have been way behind the times in the facilities arm race. And so I think for Florida, you got to look in the mirror, man. You got to look in the mirror. And the problem is they're looking in the mirror right now and seeing that Billy Napier is the problem. I don't agree with it. It shouldn't be the case, but it's what they're thinking. So because of that, they'll make a change. They'll make a change quickly, and they'll make a change after they lose to Tennessee. So a rocky end is the first future headline. Second future headline, DeBoer is back. Because, like, Alabama fans, you got mad at me all week because I said this is a big, big week for the legacy of Kalen DeBoer. What happened last week against Vandy would never happen under Nick Saban. You have players yelling at each other on the way out of the stadium last weekend, and however many Bama fans you want to say that happens all the time, it does not. I've been on a lot of sidelines. That stuff does not happen all the time. It just doesn't. So you've got players yelling at each other. You've got Malachi Moore losing his mind and kicking a football. All of that stuff is concerning. It should be concerning. It doesn't happen under Saban. Didn't happen under Saban. DeBoer is back because South Carolina is, I think, a tricky team because Lenore Sellers and Robbie Ashford and the defensive front and Alabama's offensive line hasn't been that great. Everything will come together for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Everything will come together They'll cover the spread. And to me, it'll show Alabama fans and show the world that, okay, what happened is inexcusable, but the true DeBoer, the true Alabama is one that is competitive, one that is true to itself, one that's disciplined, and one that's going to right the ship. Does that mean they're going to make the playoff? I have no idea. That's not the discussion. I don't like talking about the playoff mid-season because quite honestly, it doesn't matter. What matters for Alabama is getting to a position where maybe down the road they can make a run. And it goes back to something, and we had Brent Key, the Georgia Tech coach, on before I went to Ireland, and he kind of complimented me. He's like, because I said, look, you guys think one play at a time. You guys think the way you talk and coach speak. We might hate it, but that's the way coaches think. And that's how I think DeBoer is going to approach this. Let's focus on this game, put it in a vacuum, see if we can rebound, and move forward from there. So headline number 2, DeBoer is the back. Good coffee. I need it today. Number 3. You ever play a game called Duck, Duck, Goose? I think everyone did when they were kids. Although in the state of Minnesota, I don't know where I saw this graphic. This is a complete sidebar. They call it Duck, Duck, Gray Duck. If you're from Minnesota and you're watching, explain that to me. Because that is a legit thing, Duck, Duck, Gray Duck. But no, everywhere else, the other 49 states and the rest of the world, we call it Duck, Duck, Goose. It's going to be Duck, Duck, Lose. Not Duck, Duck, Goose, Duck, Duck, Lose. Because, look, I don't know what this game's going to go, how it's going to go between Ohio State and Oregon. I've gone back and forth on this game all week. I mean, honestly, all week. I'm settling on Ohio State. And part of this is that James Crepea from the Oregonian, he was on our show on Wednesday previewing this game. And he says that he thinks that it's going to be low scoring, that it's going to be maybe a slugfest. And I was on the side of track meet, and the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay, maybe James is right. And if he is, that favors Ohio State. Absolutely ferocious defensive front. Offensive line gets the job done. I think they will, especially against an Oregon team that, for whatever reason, has not lived up to Dan Lanning's expectations and won the battle at the line of scrimmage a lot. It really has not done that. So since that is the case, I'm going to pick Ohio State. And I hate that. I really hate that I just said that, because I still don't trust Will Howard. But I do trust Jeremiah Smith. I do trust Emeka Egbuka. I do trust that running back core. And I do trust that front seven. So duck, lose. At home in Austin. In Autzen. Man, I really hate that I just did that. But I did it. Duck, lose. The Ducks are going down. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll start the Friday Five, the overs and unders of this week's Friday Five. Coming up on the other side, it's college football smothered and covered. And of course, we are powered by Locked On. Got a new sponsor for the show. It's called Z-Biotics. And look, Z-Biotics is a pre-alcohol probiotic drink. It's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink alcohol, it gets converted to a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break the byproduct down. Just remember, make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Now, I'll tell you, I was in Ireland. Brought some Z-Biotics with me because, look, they do something better in Ireland than anybody, and that's drink. I was there for Georgia Tech, Florida State, and they lied. The Irish did, because there's not just one pub on every corner. There are lots. And I found a lot of them, but I didn't feel bad the next day, thanks to Z-Biotics. Go to zbiotics.com. That's the letter Z, biotics.com. FanDuel.com/LockedOnCollege to learn more. Get 15% off your first order when you use Locked On College at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Remember to head to ZBiotics.com/LockedOnCollege and use the promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off your next order. We are also brought to you by FanDuel. You get a big return on FanDuel these days. FanDuel, of course, is America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get the hunch in the middle of a game, I don't know, live betting, you see a stat, you see some play-by-play right there on the same page you do your betting on FanDuel, you can make another bet. It's all right there for you. It's very easy, and you can do whatever you want in terms of looking up stats, play-by-play, all of that stuff. They'll get you started. $200 in bonus bets. $200 in bonus bets when you place your first $5 wager. That is guaranteed. Go to FanDuel.com. FanDuel.com. All right, over-unders. It's the Friday 5. We are 15-15 in the Friday 5, which means we're losing money. Don't like that. So we're going to try to kick things off this week with a couple over-unders. Clemson and Wake Forest. The over-unders at 61.5. Clemson's defense is so good. If you guys have watched this show, you know I'm gradually coming back to the Clemson bandwagon. I saw them in person against Georgia from the press box. That defense looked ferocious in the first half. They just couldn't hang on in the second half. The scoreboard doesn't really indicate how good that defense was. And I'm being serious. I'm not just trying to justify a predetermined thought. So how is Wake Forest going to score? They're not. They're not going to get to double digits. And to me, then the question becomes, how long does Dabo Swinney keep his foot on the gas? And the answer, in my mind, is not very long. He wants, I think he understands, based on some things that he said this week and last week, he understands that this team is starting to get to the point where, yeah, they are an ACC championship contender. Yeah, they might be a college football playoff championship contender. Cade Klubnik stretching the field. They can run the dang ball. They can play defense. Are they at that level yet? No. Do they have to be healthy to reach that level? Yes. So to me, I think the defense shuts Wake down. Clemson takes control of things early and lets his foot off the gas. Late third, maybe early fourth quarter. You're not going to see one of those NC State style games where Clemson just goes and goes and goes and goes. I don't think they need that anymore. They needed that game for their confidence. I think this one, they need to stay healthy. So under 61 and a hook. All right, the Magnolia Bowl. Ole Miss and LSU. The point total is 62.5. It's a lot of points, folks. It's a lot of points. It's not enough. It's not enough. Take the over 62 and a hook. The reason is because LSU's offense really hasn't improved. Blake Baker hasn't been the magic elixir. We talked about ZBiotics. It seems like he's been hungover the whole time, the whole season. Maybe you should have taken it before the season started. So how are they going to stop Ole Miss? Ole Miss is a high-octane, high-speed, explosive offense. LSU's given up 5.85 yards per play. They're next to last in the SEC in explosive plays given up of 20 or more yards. How are they going to stop? They're not. But on the flip side, LSU's offense is cooking. That's a good offense. Garrett Nussmeier is a monster. They've got receivers. They've got a very good running back core. The offensive line has come of age. So if we're talking about going score for score, I don't think LSU can do it for a full 60. But could they do it for 50? Yeah. Could they use some magic Death Valley at night voodoo to get the job done? Sure. 62.5. I'm in. Let's go. Let's have a shootout in Death Valley at night in the Magnolia Bowl, one of the most underrated rivalries in the entire country. Hey, reminder, you can become a college football smothered and covered insider. Just look in the description below, whether you're watching or listening. Subtext group. Click on that link. You can join me wherever I am. That's right. You can text me and I'll text you right back. You can tell me how much you hate me on text and I'll say you're right. I suck. Right back to you personally. First month free, use code COLLEGE. Join the subtext group. You will not regret it. Today's show also brought to you by Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.5% APY. On uninvested cash, receive unlimited 1% deposit bonuses and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 per month. The new gold standard is here, Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For specific disclosures, visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rates may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. All right, game picks of the Friday Five. We got 3 of them. We got 2 over-unders, got 3 game picks. If you read my story on Outkick, you know Trey Wallace and I would do the 3 biggest games and then a wild card. And the wild card is usually my best bet of the week. And the best bet of the week is Kansas State -3.5 at Colorado late night in Boulder. Do not care how hopping that stadium will be. Kansas State will dominate. And the reason is really simple. They run the dang ball. What's the best way to slow down Shedeur Sanders? Keep him over there. I'm pointing over there to the side. Keep him on that sideline. Kansas State does that. Tops in the Big 12 in yards per play. Second in the Big 12 in rushing. That sounds like a recipe for success to me. Look, Colorado's actually good. They're better than I thought they'd be. Are they a bowl team? Yeah, I think they'll make a bowl game. That's a huge, huge accomplishment for Deion Sanders. Wrong team, wrong time, bad matchup. So Kansas State, you lay the 3.5. You stay up late, have some fun, and then you wake up and listen to me and Tom Luganville on Sirius XM 84. Break it all down on very little sleep. So Kansas State -3.5 at Colorado. That's game 1. Game 2, Iowa State at West Virginia. Of course, the Clones undefeated. That will change. West Virginia +3. Take the points. You won't need them. The Mountaineers win it outright. Look, I love Matt Campbell. I love Iowa State. Love Becht, quarterback. It's a really good team. But it's susceptible to upsets like every other Big 12 team. The personnel level at all of those schools is not where it needs to be in order to run the table. There will be lulls. There will be upsets. There will be chaos. Where's a better place to have chaos than Milan Pescar Stadium at night, burning couches, Garrett Green, all that stuff. The run comes to an end. The magical run comes to an end for the Clones. West Virginia +3. Take the points. You won't need them. West Virginia wins it outright. Last one in Los Angeles. Now, I was surprised with this line the way it is. I don't necessarily think of the LA Coliseum as a massive home field advantage. It was in the mid-2000s. For you Utes out there, you might not remember that. You also might not remember where the term Utes came from. Watch My Cousin Vinny. It's awesome. But I don't think of it as a big home field advantage. So Penn State -3.5 is surprising to me because there's no home field advantage. USC has regressed in terms of tackling. If you remember the first game in 3 quarters, or maybe even game in 50 minutes, USC looked like they were fundamentally sound defensively. They looked like they could tackle. They did. They stayed in their lanes. They made open field tackles better than a lot of other teams in the country. And then that final drive against Michigan, they missed one. Pretty much cost them the game. But they've regressed. Meanwhile, Penn State's got Drew Aller. They've got a great 1-2 punch at wide receiver. Got a great offensive line. How are they going to stop that offense? And I can't believe I'm saying this about the Penn State offense because I was not a believer. I'm a believer enough now, maybe partially because I don't trust USC anymore, but I'm a believer now, at least enough to think that Penn State covers the 3.5. And man, if I'm wrong, can you imagine what will happen if I'm wrong? If USC beats Penn State and one of Ohio State, Oregon has to lose, I think it'll be Oregon. Man, that Big Ten race is going to look muddled. But Penn State's not going to lose. They're going to get the job done. Win by, I'd say, double digits. That's how much faith I've lost in the USC Trojans. Last thing before we head out of here in terms of on the field, or at least in the conference rooms, the SEC and the Big Ten meeting in Nashville. My colleague at Outkick, Trey Wallace, has all of that covered. And I get asked a lot, what does this mean for the future of college football? And I don't want to dodge the question. The answer is I have no freaking idea. Everything spins so quickly in our sport that, remember, we used to have the alliance between the Big Ten, the Pac-12, and the Big 12. At the same time, the Big Ten was poaching teams from the Pac-12. We literally had Greg Sankey steal Texas and Oklahoma while working with the Big 12 on the future of college football. So the answer to what is happening right now in Nashville, or what happened this week in Nashville, is I have no clue. Is there going to be a scheduling agreement between these two conferences? Maybe. Is that at the top of the list of things that they're talking about? No, it doesn't. I don't care. I don't think they care. What's happening, I believe, is that the future of the college football playoff, and Greg Sankey sort of alluded to that, they're going to go through this year and then reassess. That's not reality. That's a lie. What's actually happening is they're developing plan A, plan B, plan C after this season, how they want to push their goal of having 4 teams each in a playoff every single season. We saw them sort of discuss a while back moving to 14 teams. That's going to happen. When the money starts rolling in, that's how it works. I hate it. I hate the 12. Didn't like the 4. I wish it was the BCS, but that to me is, in my mind, kind of what's going on. They're setting the groundwork for their unified front to change college football, in my mind, for the worst. But I know you expansionists out there might like it. We'll see what you feel after this 12-team version, because I don't think you're going to like how it turns out. But that's neither here nor there. For all you in Florida suffering from the aftermath of Hurricane Milton. For all of you in Western North Carolina who feel like they've been forgotten, we remember as well. So you guys out there, donate the Red Cross, donate to Samaritan's Purse, all that stuff. They need help. They need help. The feds aren't really doing what they need to be doing. So give them as much help as you possibly can. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the subtext. If you want to be a college football smothered and covered insider, use promo code college. You'll get it for free. You can text me personally, and I'll text you back. Text you about whatever you want to know. What's going on in my life? What's going on in your life? You can tell me. The link is right there below. We'll be back for some instant reaction on Saturday for big games, and there are a lot of them. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you ring that notification bell. All of that stuff. Share the show. If you like the show, share it across all of your platforms. Email it to your friends. Text it to your friends. All that stuff, because we got a lot going on over here, a lot going on in the future. We want you to be a part of it, as well as everybody else out there in the new media college football world. Till Saturday, have a great one.